Hotline's ringing, Fritzy. Matt Kenseth set to call in, the Daytona 500 champion, driver of the number 17 Best Buy Ford. It seemed to be survival of the fittest, and he had a little bit of everything last night. And the fun part of it was at night. Well, at least as a viewer, I liked it far better at night than during the day. I don't know if the drivers like that. Let's bring in Matt Kenseth. And difference between day and night for you, Matt, was what?
Oh, it's a difference from night and day. Night and day difference, Dan. No. The biggest thing is I think it's really cool for the fans at night because even though the cars are approximately the same speed, I feel like it always looks faster. You get to see the sparks fly, and to me the racing just seems sometimes more exciting at night. So I thought that was a great audible by NASCAR after looking at the weather forecast and getting rained out Sunday to move it to prime time Monday night. And I think that was great for everybody that wanted to watch, especially at home.
Got done at 1 in the morning. How much sleep have you gotten?
I got just about exactly an hour. Not enough for me.
Did you celebrate?
We did a little bit. By the time I was done with everything, I went back to our motorhome, and I was going to kind of get cleaned up and hang out with Katie for a couple hours because she had to get up with the kids early and leave this morning. So I was just going to hang out with her a little bit. And some of my crew guys were back there, kind of walking around the trailer park down there trying to find beer in a cooler and get it stacked up. So it was kind of fun. It kind of reminded me of a Saturday night race. So there was about 6 or 7 of them back there. So I stopped there and we just sat outside and talked for about an hour and a half. So that was pretty fun. We don't get to do that very often anymore.
You ever knocked on somebody else's RV for a beer?
I didn't actually. It was pretty cool. I got the best wife ever, and she was kind of half in her pajamas and everything, and she was walking around talking to some of the motorhome drivers because we didn't really have any beer in our motorhome, and asked them all for beer in a cooler. So it was pretty funny. She was walking around and came through for the guys.
That's a keeper right there. That's a keeper. Oh, yeah. How would you describe it if somebody didn't see last night and you had to give a Cliff Notes version? How would you describe last night?
Oh, man. I mean, I saw a little bit of everything. As far as most of the accidents, I wasn't really around them. We were in front of all the accidents, I believe, which was a good thing. So I'm not really sure what happened in all of those, but it was a crazy race with Juan's car braking and hitting that jet dryer and that thing exploding like a Hollywood movie. I guess stuff really does explode if you hit it hard enough. I always thought that was just for the movies. And
Did you hear it?
I did not. I was leaving pit road, and I was just coming off of turn 2, and I saw a bright light down at the other end of the straightaway, and then saw it was a fire, and really at first didn't know what.
It seemed like it was a movie about NASCAR, that if Michael Bay or one of these guys who love these action movies, somebody was going to do Die Hard with Bruce Willis, they would have had a lot of this stuff, explosions and wrecks, and it was at night and sparks, and it just seemed like it was made for TV last night.
Yeah, it was. I feel bad for NASCAR, although I think they did an excellent job through all the circumstances they had with the rain, and feel bad with the fans that couldn't come back on Monday. But then scheduling for prime time and everything going good, and then having to have that 2-hour delay, with 50 to go or whatever was kind of a bummer, especially for everybody who was trying to stay awake at another end of the TV. But it really was. It was a crazy speed week. We started off Saturday with the Bud Shootout, or a week ago Saturday, and just had crazy wrecks and crazy race. And then the Thursday races were much more normal. And then, of course, the nationwide truck races ended with big wrecks. And then the 500 had a little bit of everything. So it was a very wild and I feel like a really entertaining speed weeks and Daytona 500.
He's Matt Kenseth, the driver of the number 17 Best Buy Ford, your winner of the 2012 Daytona 500. Did you win or survive?
I feel like we won. We had a really fast car. We were able to win the 150-mile qualifier on Thursday, and I felt like my teammate Greg Biffle and I had the fastest cars, and we had to overcome a lot of early adversity to get in position to win that thing, and we had to go through 3 or 4 restarts there at the end and keep that thing up front, and that's hard to do with them plate races. I thought a lot of time the leader of them things in restarts doesn't end up coming back, with a trophy. The guys behind them get ganged up and get a big draft and a big push and go around you. So
were you surprised though that Biffle didn't try to pass you on that final lap?
It's not that he didn't try to pass me. It's just he didn't have a big enough run. When we got down to turn 3 on the last lap, we were all going basically the same speed. So I mean, you can drive outside of somebody, but if we're all wide open and you're going the same speed as the guy in front of you, you're not going to do anything except for open up the bottom, for the guy behind you to pass you. So believe me, you're going to do everything you can to try to win the Daytona 500. So it's not like he sat there and tried to pass me. He just could never get the run mustered. And I felt good about having Greg behind me because I felt like we had the fastest two cars. And Dale Jr. had a good car, but I don't think it was as fast as ours, and that made it harder to push. You know, if Greg would have been behind Dale Jr., I would have felt much more threatened because Greg had an extremely fast car, and I feel like he could have really pushed Dale Jr. faster than Dale Jr. could have pushed him.
What happens to the car now?
The car gets put over, and they used to call it Daytona USA. I guess it's I don't know what they call it anymore, but there's a building out in front of the speedway where you can sign up and do track tours and everything, and the car sits in there for a year. For all the fans that come and get a tour to come and look at, and they give it back to us the week of the Daytona 500 next year. So that car and everything with it disappears for a year, but that's a pretty cool thing to have it sitting there and get it back next year.
Wait, don't you want to drive it? I mean, it seemed like it was pretty good at Daytona.
I do. I want to drive it at Talladega twice and Daytona one more time. So our restrictor plate, speedway cars are just a little different than the rest. And if you get a good one, you want to keep running it. But that's part of it. To win the Daytona 500, I think you're happy giving up your car.
Well, congrats. Get some sleep. And thanks again for joining us, Matt.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Matt Kenseth.